fan of?
It's a lifelong passion, Con. I promise you. I grew up motorcycles, cars, music. Three things that. Where did the nickname the Count come from? We developed a character named Count Cool Rider. Count I grew up in, and I'm blessed enough to be able to continue to do all three of those things and pay the bills with it. Cool Rider, CC Rider, and that's where the nickname the Count came from.
You're watching your favorite car show, Counting Cars, waiting to see Danny Koker work his magic on another beat-up classic. But then something strange happens. Danny isn't there anymore. The show goes on, but without its main star. What happened? Where did Danny go? Today, we're going to uncover the real story behind Danny Koker's disappearance from Counting Cars. And trust me, it's more dramatic than any episode you've ever watched. Danny Koker wasn't just the host of a popular TV show. He was the heart and soul of everything that made Counting Cars special. For years, fans watched him turn rusty old cars into stunning masterpieces at his shop, Count's Customs. But behind all the cameras and cool cars, Danny's life was about to take some very unexpected turns that would change everything. Let's start from the beginning. Danny Koker was born on January 5th, 1964, in Cleveland, Ohio. His full name is Daniel Nicholas Koker, too, and from the very start, cars were in his blood. His dad and other family members worked for Ford Motor Company. So little Danny grew up surrounded by engines, tools, and the smell of motor oil. It was like he was destined to become a car guy. But here's something interesting about Danny that many people don't know. He didn't just love cars. He was also crazy about music. His father, Danny Koker Sr., was a musician, and young Danny inherited that talent. He could sing really well, and he even joined his family's band when he was just a kid. Music would become a huge part of his life later on, but we'll get to that. When Danny was growing up, his family owned a TV channel called Channel 33. This gave him his first taste of being on television. He hosted a show called Saturday Friday at the Movies, which was pretty cool for a young guy. But even with all this TV experience, Danny's real passion was still cars. He learned how to fix them the hard way, by getting his hands dirty and figuring things out on his own, unlike what many people think. Danny didn't go to some fancy automotive school. He just finished high school, where he took some basic shop and automotive classes. Everything else he learned by taking things apart and putting them back together. Can you imagine teaching yourself how to restore cars just by experimenting? That takes serious dedication and talent. Danny's first car was a 1979 Camaro Z28, and instead of just driving it around like most teenagers would, he completely took it apart and rebuilt it from scratch. He turned it into a street racing machine that looked absolutely incredible. Even today, after all these years, Danny still owns that same Camaro. It sits in his shop like a proud reminder of where his journey began. As Danny got older, his hobby of fixing cars slowly turned into something much bigger. He opened Count's Customs in Las Vegas, Nevada, and it started as just a fun project. But word spread quickly about this guy who could take any old beat-up car and make it look brand new again. Soon, celebrities and car lovers from all over the country were bringing their vehicles to Danny's shop. The shop grew bigger and bigger. Danny hired about 45 people to work with him, and they became like a big family. They didn't just fix cars. They created rolling works of art. Each car that left Count's Customs was unique and special, with custom paint jobs, rebuilt engines, and details that would make your jaw drop. But Danny's big break came when he started appearing on a show called Pawn Stars. The host, Rick Harrison, would call Danny whenever someone brought in a cool old car to the pawn shop. Danny became the go-to guy for figuring out how much these vehicles were worth. People loved watching him on TV because he was so passionate and knowledgeable about cars. The History Channel noticed how popular Danny was, and in 2012, they gave him his own show called Counting Cars. The show followed Danny and his crew as they restored amazing vehicles and showed viewers all the hard work that goes into making a car beautiful again. It was a huge hit right from the start. For 10 seasons, Counting Cars was one of the most popular shows on the History Channel. Danny became a household name, and millions of people tuned in every week to watch him work. The show featured some incredible car builds, like vintage Mustangs, classic Corvettes, and even some really unusual projects like turning a broken-down car into a pool table. Danny's team on the show was amazing too. There was Kevin Mack, Danny's best friend, who helped him find cars and manage the business side of things. Shannon Icall was the lead builder who could create anything you could imagine. Ryan Evans was the master painter who made the cars look absolutely stunning with his artwork. And there were many other talented people who made the show special. But while Danny was becoming more and more famous, he was also building an incredible personal collection of cars and motorcycles. By 2019, he owned more than 100 vehicles. His collection included some of the rarest and most expensive cars in the world, like a 1966 AC Cobra worth about $2 million. Danny once joked that he was addicted to collecting cars, and that he probably needed help to stop buying them. Everything seemed to be going perfectly for Danny. He had a successful TV show, a thriving business, an amazing car collection, and he was even performing with his rock band called Count 77. But then, things started to go wrong in ways that nobody expected. The first sign of trouble came in 2014, when a couple named Jeanette and Paul sued Count's Customs. They had brought their 1967 Ford Mustang to the shop, hoping it would be featured on the show and restored. But months went by, and nothing happened to their car. When they asked for their money back, Danny's shop refused to give it to them. The couple felt cheated and took the matter to court. This lawsuit was embarrassing for Danny and his team. It made people wonder if Count's Customs was really as honest and reliable as they appeared on TV. The case dragged on for a while, and it created a dark cloud over the shop's reputation. But that was just the beginning. In 2017, something even worse happened. A former employee named Joseph Frontiera was accused of stealing $75,000 from Count's Customs. The lawsuit claimed that Joseph had been taking money from the company and spending it on personal things like fancy cars and trips. It was like someone Danny trusted had stabbed him in the back. These legal problems were stressful and expensive for Danny. He had to spend time and money fighting in court instead of focusing on what he loved most, working on cars. But even these lawsuits weren't the worst thing that would happen to him. In 2019, Danny made a decision that would change his life forever. A friend of his had been in a car accident and couldn't afford to get their 2008 Cadillac Escalade out of the tow yard where it was being held. Danny wanted to help his friend, so he arranged to have the car towed to his shop so he could fix it and give it back to them. What Danny didn't realize was that what he did was actually illegal in Nevada. You can't take a car out of a tow yard without proper permission from the authorities, even if you're trying to help someone. When the police found out what happened, they arrested Danny and charged him with a serious crime that could have sent him to prison for up to 10 years. This was probably the scariest moment of Danny's life. He wasn't trying to steal anything. He was just trying to help a friend. But the law is the law, and Danny had to face the consequences of his actions. Luckily, his lawyers were able to work out a deal with the prosecutors. Instead of going to prison, Danny pleaded guilty to a lesser charge and was sentenced to 3 years of probation. He also had to pay $25,000 to the tow yard and do 80 hours of community service. During this time, Danny also couldn't own or carry any guns, which was part of his probation agreement. This whole experience was incredibly stressful and embarrassing for someone who had built his reputation on being trustworthy and honest. But the legal troubles still weren't over. In 2018, Danny had to deal with another lawsuit involving 2 former employees who allegedly stole money from his rock bar and restaurant. The case claimed they had taken $376,000 from the business, which was a huge amount of money. This led to a criminal investigation, and the former employees were eventually arrested. All of these legal problems were taking a serious toll on Danny's health and well-being. The stress of fighting multiple lawsuits, dealing with criminal charges, and trying to keep his business running was overwhelming. His reputation was being damaged, and people were starting to question whether he was really the honest, hard-working guy they thought he was. The media attention was intense and often negative. Danny, who had always been seen as a positive, upbeat person on TV, was now being portrayed as someone who might be dishonest or even criminal. This was heartbreaking for someone who had worked so hard to build his career and reputation. But the worst was yet to come. In 2022, fans of Counting Cars got some shocking news. Danny was leaving the show that had made him famous. At first, nobody knew why. There were rumors and speculation, but no clear answers. Some people thought it might be because of all the legal problems he had been facing. Then the real truth came out, and it was more serious than anyone had imagined. Danny wasn't leaving the show because of legal troubles or business problems. He was leaving because he was fighting for his life. Danny had developed pneumonia, which is a serious infection in the lungs that makes it very hard to breathe. But that wasn't all. He also had a dangerous infection in his heart. These health problems were life-threatening. Danny was so sick that there were real fears he might not survive. For someone who had always been so full of energy and passion, being unable to work or even breathe properly must have been terrifying. But Danny Koker is a fighter, just like the cars he restores. He didn't give up even when things looked really bad. He worked with doctors, took his medicine, and slowly started to get better. It was a long and difficult process, but eventually, Danny's health began to improve. The recovery wasn't quick or easy. Danny had to take time away from everything he loved, his shop, his cars, his band, and his TV show. For months, he focused only on getting healthy again. His fans were worried about him, but they also understood that his health had to come first. Gradually, Danny started to feel stronger. He began spending more time at Count's Customs again, working on cars and managing his business. Even though he wasn't on TV anymore, he was still the heart and soul of his shop. Every car that came through the door still got his personal attention and expertise. Danny also returned to something else he loved, his music. His band, Count 77, had been performing for about 10 years, and they were still going strong. The band played hard rock music that reminded people of the great bands from the 1970s. For Danny, music was another way to express his creativity, just like restoring cars. His wife, Corey, also played an important role in helping Danny through this difficult time. She managed a rock bar in Las Vegas called Count's Vamped, which gave Danny one less thing to worry about while he was recovering. Having a supportive partner made all the difference during his health crisis. Today, Danny is doing much better. He's back to working on cars at Count's Customs, performing with his band, and enjoying life in Las Vegas. While he may not be on TV as much as he used to be, he's still passionate about everything he does. His shop continues to create amazing custom cars, and his reputation in the automotive world remains strong. The experience of nearly losing his life changed Danny's perspective on what's really important. He realized that while success and fame are nice, health, family, and friends matter much more. He learned to appreciate every day and not take anything for granted. Danny's car collection is still impressive, with over 100 vehicles ranging from classic muscle cars to rare exotic sports cars. He still gets excited about finding new cars to add to his collection or restore to shop. That passion for automobiles that started when he was a young boy in Cleveland has never gone away. Looking back at everything that happened to Danny Koker, it's clear that his journey has been like a roller coaster ride. He went from being a regular guy who loved cars to becoming a TV star, then faced serious legal problems and life-threatening health issues, and finally found his way back to what makes him happy. The legal troubles taught him important lessons about being careful and following the rules, even when you're trying to help someone. The health scare reminded him that life is precious and can change in an instant. And through it all, his love for cars and music never wavered. Danny's story shows us that even when life gets really difficult, it's possible to come back stronger than before. He could have given up when he faced criminal charges or when he was fighting for his life in the hospital. Instead, he kept fighting and found his way back to doing what he loves most. For fans of counting cars, seeing Danny step away from the show was disappointing. The program just wasn't the same without his energy and expertise. But knowing that he made that decision to focus on his health makes it easier to understand and respect. Count's Customs is still operating and creating incredible custom cars. The skilled craftsmen that Danny trained and worked with for years continue to uphold the high standards that made the shop famous. While Danny may not be on camera as much, his influence and vision still guide everything that happens there. Danny Koker's story isn't over yet. At 59 years old, he still has many years ahead of him to work on cars, perform with his band, and enjoy life with his family. The challenges he faced have made him stronger and more appreciative of the good things in his life. His legacy in the automotive world is secure. Danny showed millions of people that with passion, hard work, and creativity, you can turn something old and forgotten into something beautiful and valuable. He inspired countless viewers to appreciate classic cars and maybe even try working on vehicles themselves. The Count 77 band continues to rock stages across the country, proving that Danny's talents extend far beyond the automotive world. Music has always been an important part of his life, and now he has more time to focus on this passion as well. So what actually happened to Danny Koker from Counting Cars? He faced legal troubles that tested his character, fought health problems that threatened his life, and ultimately chose to step back from the spotlight to focus on what truly matters to him. His journey shows us that success isn't just about fame and money. It's about surviving challenges, learning from mistakes, and never giving up on the things you love most. Danny's story reminds us that everyone faces difficult times, even people who seem to have everything going for them. What matters is how we respond to those challenges, and whether we let them defeat us or make us stronger. Today, Danny Koker is living proof that it's possible to overcome almost anything if you have the right attitude and the support of people who care about you. He's back to doing what he loves, surrounded by the cars and music that have always been his passion. If you've been wondering what happened to Danny Koker, now you know the whole story. From his rise to fame on Counting Cars, to his legal troubles, health scare, and ultimate recovery, Danny's journey has been anything but ordinary. But through it all, he's remained true to himself and his love for cars. What do you think about Danny Koker's incredible journey? Have you ever faced challenges that seemed impossible to overcome? His story shows us that with determination and the support of others, we can get through even the toughest times. If this story inspired you or taught you something new about one of television's most interesting personalities, make sure to hit that like button and share this video with other car enthusiasts. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss our latest videos about your favorite TV stars and the amazing stories behind their success and struggles. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.